everybody. Welcome to episode 494 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined by not one, not two, but three co-hosts today. Very special guest with us from the University of Northern Iowa. Lee Roper on the call alongside Ben Askren and Kyle Brackey. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Get to talk some wrestling today. Doesn't get much better for me.
Heck yeah. Well, we feel the same. We're so pumped to have you on, Coach. I don't think you've ever been on FRL before, but it's
I think first time, man. I'm a big fan. There's hardly one. I don't know if there's one I hadn't listened to. Really, I can't get enough of this stuff, man. I got a disease. I love it too much.
That's awesome. I think this group can definitely relate to that. So a few topics we want to get into today, and I want to start with someone who kind of dominated the weekend and leading into the weekend's headlines, which was Henry Cejudo. And it wasn't just, the guy goes out a champion and says he's retired and he beats Dominic Cruz. There was some talk leading into it where he had made a comment in the embedded or whatever. He's like, hey, I could make a comeback, make the team in 2021, which started a lot of, back and forth speculation. And for me, there's a lot of different things we can talk about with Henry. So one, is he actually retired? Two, how would he do if he did decide to come back? He's like 33 years old, I think, or maybe he's younger than that. And then three is the what if scenario. Like, what could Henry Cejudo's wrestling career have been, right? And he is 33. Fact check from Kyle Brackey. Thank you. So I don't know where you want to go from there, Ben. Why don't you just get it started, and we'll just see where the conversation takes us around Henry.
Yeah. You threw out quite a few angles to take. Yeah. I always, and I never did this myself, I never liked when guys kind of quit early and said, well, I could have made the team. Which is actually funny enough because I think that's what we're talking about with Kale with the Last Dance series when we talk about that tomorrow. And I responded to the tweet, and I just don't think he can make the team. When you look at the weigh-ins, he couldn't make double morning of 125. That's just out of the question for him. It was hard enough making 125 just day before, let alone so day before fighting, remember, he missed 125 a whole bunch of times, let alone double morning of and competing right afterwards. So then you bump him up to 143 pounds because there's no 61 kilo during the Olympic year, and I just don't feel like he can compete with those 143 pound guys. They're too big. He hasn't been wrestling in a long time. Could he maybe say take a fifth through an eighth? Yeah, I could see that. You could talk me into that. But that's still going to be a challenge at 65 kg. So I think him making the team is kind of it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Coach?
I'm with Ben on that, man. So much of his game was timing too. He had great outside step and speed and power. It's going to be hard to jump back in and really be at the level that, you look at Henry Cejudo a certain way, and all of us have memories of what he did and where we were at when he won that match, and he's just not going to be that guy again. Too much time passes, and his mind's been on other tasks too. He's been trying to conquer other goals, so just being able to jump back in that pool and be an elite at something else is pretty tough to do, I would imagine.
I think go ahead, Ben.
Okay, the other thing I think we need to consider, Christian, and it almost became a hallmark of his career where, Henry was this underdog. He wasn't supposed to win, and he just kept winning, right? He wasn't supposed to beat Demetrius. He wasn't supposed to be able to beat Marlon Moraes, and he just kept winning. And if you think all the way back to 08, so the interesting thing is he wasn't supposed to win there either.
No.
I think he was ranked like 15th at the time or something. So
31st.
Okay. Well, I was off. We get the gist of it. So yeah, he wasn't supposed to win, and he did win. So it's like, would he have then achieved this new plateau? Because in fighting, when he achieved the new plateau, he did it, right? He stuck there and he kept winning. He defended both of his belts. Would he have been able to do that in wrestling? And he took a whole bunch of time off. He obviously came back in 2012, but that was after like 3 years off.
And the thing, what I was going to bring up about 2012 was he came back, but he kind of was like, he wasn't immersed the way he was. He wasn't like in a program like he was with Terry Brands and the OTC, where he was just like all in. He had his coach, he had his partners. He was kind of doing the celebrity tour thing, and he was training at what's the name of that school in Arizona?
Arizona State?
No.
It's his brother's score, right? And
He was. I mean,
he wasn't
Henry
training, right?
Well, so I mean, he was all over the place. I saw, he would come in sometimes. I would live there for a year and a half, and I trained at a gym called the Lions Den at that point in time. And, he was in there every once in a while. Nothing like he wasn't an everyday guy, but he would once in a while come in and spar. And obviously, when he decided to come in and spar, he always looked really good. But that was then. It was still like, well, are you going to fight? You're sparring, but are you going to fight because you haven't signed with anyone? There's nothing going on there. And then obviously after that, I left in June of 2011 or May 2011, and then after that, he decided to make his comeback to wrestling.
It was Grand Canyon. I'm pretty sure he was like training at Grand Canyon for an extended period of time. I was like, all right, ain't no one getting this guy better at Grand Canyon University. Sorry. But he had a little bit at Ohio Regional Training Center, and he just wasn't all the way in.
I forgot that.
Remember, it was like, I don't even know if he actually made it there or how much time he actually spent there, but he was there for some period of time. So yeah, he just never really fully immersed himself back with the wrestling life that I think it required, and he credits the reason I know he was 31st ranked. I'm not encyclopedic. I just watched the Terry Brands Henry Cejudo little flow film we did a couple years ago, and he talks about being ranked 31st in the world when he won. But he also talks about just being Terry Brands' soldier and just doing everything that guy said and just being so bought in to everything this guy. He said, I need to do something extra. I do something extra. And I think that was part of Henry's edge, right, is that he was so gassed up and so full of self-belief with Terry. I think part of him knows probably if he's not deep down 100% immersed in it, I don't think there's any way he could do it. And now at 33, you think about the big thing when he was a 55-kilogram guy. I know it was 2 kilograms, that's like 4 pounds lighter, but that was a really tough cut for him when he was 21 and 21 years old.
And he missed Christian. He did miss 125 on day before weigh-ins multiple times before he got to the UFC.
But I don't look at that. I honestly, you can correct me because you would probably know better than me. But I don't attribute that to his size. I attribute that to discipline. I attribute that to
I agree.
And so Agreed. which kind of goes back to my point of I think if Henry had fully immersed and gone all in on it, I think he probably would if he just had someone that would hold him accountable and keep him focused on the right things. I think he could have made 57 kilograms again and made a real run. But now I think those days are probably passing. One thing, Ben, you talked about that made kind of not, I don't know if I want to say coming back to wrestling, but just like one of the things that goes is your timing. And like Coach Roper said, that his timing was so good, and that just can go away. But he and Cale are just two great what ifs in my mind. And Ben, you are to me also, because what if you had stuck with it and
you don't gotta make me feel good. Stick with Henry and Cale.
Well, what do you mean? What's wrong? I think it's a compliment. You're in that's pretty rarefied air.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but I'm just saying, you don't gotta butter me up. Just forget about me. Let's talk about those two.
Well, it's a what if. It could have. Listen, I'll leave it open. That it could have went horribly wrong for you, Ben. But I like to think it could have been okay. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay.
Christian, I think you're hitting on a really important point here where you talk about his connection with Terry and what it would take to get him back to that level. Like, not all systems are created equal, right? And what makes the perfect storm for an athlete reaching that level? You're talking about being the best at something in the entire world. There's so many things that have to go right: the right environment, the right coach, the right mindset, the right matchups. Think about it. What if Kudikov wins the match against Matsunaga on the other side of the bracket? Yeah. And you start thinking about him wrestling Kudikov in the finals. That's a whole different matchup. So I really think you hit on something important there, man. If you really want to reach that elite level, you've got to put yourself in the right system. And I think that's why you see some guys excel moving in from the college to international ranks. That system fits them better, where they're not necessarily that elite college guy, and vice versa. You see guys that are elite college guys that don't transition well. The system's got to work for the athlete. Not all are created equal, even for the individual.
I think about and just thinking about the Terry Henry story. Terry kicking him out for a month. I don't know how well you could do that a lot of other places. I think a lot of other people would take their ball and go home. I'll train somewhere else where they don't kick me out for a month. I think, that's only 13 years ago. But you think That's just my opinion. Coach Roper, Coach Askren, you guys would probably know kids better than me, but I just think you can't do that anymore. Even though it was the right thing for Henry, I think you should be able to do stuff like that. But kids these days, and Henry was a 17, 18, or I guess he was 20 at the time. He's kind of a kid in many ways. They'll just leave.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you want to throw. I hate it when people throw all kids in one generation.
No, of course not.
But one of the things I had a friend stop by last night. Oh shit, I'm not social distancing. The governor's gonna come arrest me or something.
6 feet. You were good. You were good. 6 feet apart.
We were close to it. Yeah.
We hugged for about an hour.
I don't think we hugged. Played some disc golf. Anyways, we were talking about Michael Jordan and The Last Dance, and one of the things I think is so fascinating watching that, and I don't think we're talking about it all today, but I think this relates to the Henry Terry thing, like you're saying, is that there's this thing that's so nuanced, you can't write it out like it's A, B, C, D, right? Or a plan. If this happens, then this happens. If this happens, this happens. Mm-hmm. But there's this thing where Michael Jordan just had this perfect thing, you could just tell his teammates, he knew when to push him and when to pull back. He knew when to be an asshole and when not to be. And you see in my opinion, a lot of wrestling coaches specifically go a little bit too far where they say, where they turn kids off by being too tough or too difficult on them. And there's not a balance of it, right? And so with the Terry Henry situation, what I would say about that is there was such a bond between those two. Mm-hmm. They were so close that Terry knew that was the right thing. And you can't really write a playbook on how to do that. Sometimes you just got to feel it, right? You got to be in the moment. You got to say, okay, I need to do this. This is going to be the right thing. And is it going to work 100% of the time? No, but and I think that's what I felt about Michael is just that connection he had with his teammates. It was so unique. And I guarantee, I know that's what Henry and Terry had because I've heard them both speak about it.
Think you're dead on with that, Ben. Think back to some conversations I've been lucky enough to have with Gable, and that's what he says. If you don't know what to do with your athlete, you get to know your athlete better. You can't ask me and copy what I would do. It's individual based. You got to know your athlete.
Yeah. Gable's a wizard. He's one of those guys that Kale's got me the same way, and that's why it annoys me why he won't speak more. But you could just see they know exactly how, they intuitively just know how to feel their athletes and talk to them and get them in the right frame of mind. And again, it's almost like you can't even write a perfect playbook on it. It's just you have to feel it.
Got to spend so much time on your guys, you develop instincts.
Yeah. Yes. It's true.
Very, very clearly that helped with Terry and Henry and certainly other coaches. Great example, Coach Gable, maybe the master in the sport of wrestling.
Seriously.
And doing this. It's kind of amazing. So, okay, do you think Henry's done for real, Ben? I don't, personally.
I could see it both ways. He said a lot of things that make me think they could be done. Obviously, there was the there was a portion, I think it was last year, where he got I don't know, say the contract dispute, but, he wanted more money and they didn't give more money. He was pretty upset about that. So I could definitely see that being a thing. I mean, from his if he didn't get a pay-per-view bonus, which I'm not sure what his contract states, but he took home $350 flat. In my opinion, he's worth way more than that to the company. He's one of the few stars they have right now. I think you could count them on if you put up two hands, you count 10 stars. Henry's in that top 10 for sure. There's just no doubt about it. So I think that factors in. He is 33. He's been doing this for a long time. Moved to the Olympic Training Center when he was 16 years old, 17 years old. Yeah. I could see it going either direction.
Yeah, it just seems like he's clearly still elite. But then again, we talked about, Michael Jordan retired twice in his prime. Guys hang it up early. Not that it would be early if he retired at 33, but I just think there's a lot on the table for him, and he's still clearly really good. I see him sticking with it. I'm not, like we talked about last time, I'm not the biggest UFC fan, but I do follow the wrestlers somewhat closely.
Did you stay up late enough on Saturday night,
way.
Christian?
Oh, no way. No chance.
Come on.
Dude,
Are you a night owl or no?
Yeah, I'm a night owl. I'm actually night owl and early morning. I don't need a whole lot of sleep. I'm one of those weird people.
Dang. What's all right, give us the routine.
I can't do it consistently, but if I get 4 hours, I'll function fine. But 6 hours, I'm good,
What?
man. That's my full night's
Oh
sleep. I
my
won't sleep much
God.
more than. And my mom talks about when I was a little kid, like I never slept in. I was never that teenager that would sleep to noon.
Oh my
I
gosh.
wake up early, man.
That's my
I don't
son.
need a whole lot of sleep.
He is up with the chickens every morning. He is up so early. I don't know. It's just in him.
We had a Saturday morning cartoon routine at my house. Like, don't come wake up the parents. I knew what to do in the mornings.
Yeah, Caleb's the same way. He can get he and his sister squared away if we're still in bed.
Nice.
Okay, so good for you. I wish I only needed 6 hours. I'd be sick.
Beautiful. So Christian, what's your bet? If you had to bet, you know what, Christian, I'm gonna change my bet just because it only takes one thing to make him compete again. So I will say he'll compete in some way, shape, or form again. If I had to bet, what is your bet?
I bet that he will compete again in mixed martial arts. I know he's on Twitter
Okay.
already talking about boxing someone.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
encouraged. No, yeah, that's it. I encouraged him.
Oh, did you? You're stoking that?
Yeah.
I it was funny. So in 2000, I think it was 2009, he came to Virginia for a clinic. Henry did, and he and some of the coaches like got to hang around. I mean, I was obviously like freaking out because I didn't know really any wrestlers at this point in time. Here's an Olympic champion, but anyway, he was staying at this coach's house, and he was it was funny. He basically apparently like didn't drink or anything. At least at this point, wasn't. Because a bunch of coaches are all there drinking. He's just sitting at a table like peeling a mango. He did like a boxing workout before, and it was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about boxing, but I kind of know what good looks like. And he was like really impressive. I'm like, holy cow, he will be good at mixed martial arts. Turns out he's all right.
Yeah. Turns out he's all right.
That was a pretty fun experience overall. Okay.
That's funny.
Any other Henry Cejudo thoughts? I do want to watch him wrestle again.
Yeah, I would absolutely see wrestle. You know, just to tie Henry into that UFC 249. So first of all, man, I could go a few things. The one thing it was so interesting. The co-main event, 4 of the competitors, Christian. There's only 4 competitors in it. 3 of them were Arizona high school wrestlers.
Really?
Yeah, Dom Cruz, Gaethje, and Henry.
Dang. I didn't know Gaethje was from Arizona as well. I know he went to Northern Colorado. How about him? You kind of called him winning.
No, I don't think I did. I thought Ferguson was going to win.
Well, you sure gave him a lot of credit.
You said
you were
could
annoyed.
Win, though,
you were annoyed.
It would annoy you because you wanted Khabib and Ferguson to happen.
So I thought there was a distinct possibility that Gaethje could win. I didn't think he was going to win. You know, I thought, but it's one of those like, it wasn't one of those where like, oh, they're just throwing him in there and Ferguson's going to kill him and then he's going to move on to Khabib, right? It was like, oh, damn, like Gaethje could give Ferguson some problems and this could be an issue and we might not get to see Ferguson and Khabib. But yeah, I don't want to claim that I called it because I didn't. But yeah, Ferguson was a wrestler too, so all wrestlers in the co-main and main.
Dang. Coach, do you watch MMA at all?
I used to watch a lot more, especially when I was hanging around Fred all the time. He's a huge MMA fan. But I definitely, the reason I love MMA so much, and I do have a lot of fondness for it, is because it's displayed one of the views I have of wrestling. And I think one of the big failures as a community we've had, wrestling is the greatest martial art of all time. Nothing beats it. It is the best foundation if you want to do anything physical, manipulating another body, and the UFC's putting that on. I mean, look at the guys that are doing so well. It's a very tough background to get in a short amount of time, and it's very difficult to do too. So, man, I love it from that aspect that it gives wrestlers a place to go and show that this is a dominant martial art. There's nothing that can really compare to it.
Heck yeah. Okay. The other thing with Henry, I guess I'm curious of what do you think? Because there's a little. I think to the community, if you weren't super dialed into wrestling in 2008, it's just like, okay, Olympic champion, he was the best. But with Henry being, as we mentioned, 31st in the world was his ranking. He was 0-1 at Worlds the previous year. What do we think happens to Henry if he stays in the sport, just full on, just as he was? Was he going to be a guy that rattles off a couple in a row? Was he going to be a guy in and out? What was his comp, basically? A comparable athlete to what Henry was doing? Do we think he would have continued on and made a bunch of teams in a row and rattled off a bunch of medals or not?
Man,
I think the big thing is man, he had the one thing that's hardest for most guys. He had the confidence that I am the best in the world at this. And that's one of the toughest hurdles for a lot of guys to get over. And he had the tangible proof that I've got this medal I can look at every day. So I think you have to say, man, if he has that hardest, because he's obviously incredibly gifted with his wrestling skill, watching him out there on the mat, he's quick, explosive. He's got some physical gifts. So I think he stays in the same environment and keeps on the same path he was on. He's definitely, I think you got to say, he's got a chance to rattle off a fair number of teams. Medals, that's a whole nother level that, I mean, I don't understand real well, so I can't put an educated guess on that. But I think he'd have been the man in the United States for a couple of years.
Yeah. If you look over, yeah, I think he would have – we kind of had some trouble since Henry at that weight. Really? Was our only medal – our only medal was Gilman since Henry at the lightest weight, right? I think Simmons got
really?
fifth.
So many fifths. So
Angel
many
wrestled for
fifths.
fifth.
Or Angel. Angel got fifth.
I think Simmons got fifth also, Christian.
Yeah, he might have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simmons had a fifth.
Okay. So he's our only medal. He and Gilman are only medal since 2008, which is kind of crazy. So there is a pretty strong case he would have been the guy.
Yeah, I mean the thing that I think about that right now I think is so great, and it is allowing a lot of guys to just put medal after medal. They have really consistent, stable training situations. You know, Burrow's been in Nebraska forever. Dake at Cornell, and we could go on. Most of those guys have really stable training environments. They have at least a solid income from the RTC where they're not, scrounging to make money. And that just wasn't the case in 08. Henry didn't have that stable situation. Obviously, he was at the RTC, but, Terry was leaving there shortly after that. Was he going to stay there? He obviously wasn't being paid to be there. And I would say that's probably why the allure of making the money was so big to him. And, he went and so can you really blame him for going to, on these speaking tours and making money? Because I don't blame him at all. That gold medal enabled him to make more money than he probably dreamed of prior to 2008. And so I think that would play a big part. Is had he had a stable training situation, I think maybe the projection would have been different. But, man, I just don't know what it looked like after 08 for Henry.
Yeah. I would have loved to see him. You know what was interesting? Actually made me think of a debate we were going to have at some point, Ben, was Terry was discussing, he's like, hey, what made Henry great? He's like, his number one attribute, his first attribute was his speed. And he talked about just like this guy just had next level quickness. And then his second was his ability to just pick up things and learn them very, very quickly, which made me think, wow, which made me think of the talent debate we will one day have. Coach Roper.
Will you stop being scared? I'm ready. I'm ready.
You can't wait? Okay. Well, let's tease it out a little bit more. I'm trying to wait till we run out of things to talk about. I'm keeping that one in the chamber. Okay. I'm ready.
Well,
I've been ready for years on this one. I can't wait.
Well, okay. Wait. Speaking of, we're getting bored, Christian, and there's no wrestling. Is the FRL match going to happen? Are you guys going to do this or what?
It's not going to happen. Listen.
Oh, why not? Come on.
It's not officially not happening, but I'm just telling you it's not going to happen. I just don't think.
I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
I know, but you know what? That's just the situation right now.
Who's the most scared?
I don't know.
Nomad. He's the only one that hasn't voiced some kind of opinion on the matter.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it. That's okay. His job. Well, listen. Believe it or not, we did not hire Nomad for his wrestling skills, nor any of us, frankly, for that matter. Maybe
Okay,
Mike Mal.
fair enough.
Mike Mal's pretty freaking good, and that helps him with his content. Okay, so yeah, I don't think that FRL match is going to happen, but talent exists. All right, Anthony Echemendia, another talented individual, in my opinion. We dropped the flow.
Stop antagonizing me this morning, Christian.
All right, last one. One of my great talents, antagonism.
Okay. Antagonism, yes.
Anthony Echemendia, the Flow film came out. Hope you guys watched it. Ben, Coach Roper, if you guys watched it, just your overall thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Coach Roper.
I haven't gotten into it yet. I kind of save those where I got
Okay.
a chunk of time to sit down and digest them. I hadn't seen Echemendia's, and actually, being real candid, I don't know if I will watch it for a while, because man, I hear it's just incredible, and I've heard stories about just how he's such a great person, fine young man, and you got to think I got to compete against this guy for a few years, so I might push that one off for a while, so I don't get any of those things shaping me trying to beat this guy over the next few years for some NCAA titles.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, Christian, I loved it. I actually had someone else over. One of my former athletes was working yesterday on the disc golf course, and
Oh, man, you are
I
so
asked him
getting
today.
canceled. You're gonna get
I
shut down.
definitely was not. Don't tell anyone my address. Don't tell my address.
I don't know your address, so I can't tell him.
Good. Okay. And I said, hey, did you watch it? And he said, well, I don't, he didn't say I don't like the guy, but he said, I don't really care about the guy or something to that effect. It's like, well, listen, here's the thing. And this can go to anyone listening to me right now. You don't have to care about the guy, but here's the thing. It's a tremendous story, and it's a tremendous story of courage and bravery, because think about what it takes for an 18-year-old kid to make the decision to say, I want to go to America. And I guess that's the one part I wish you guys would have dug into that a little more. Like, why, he said for a better life, but I would have liked a few more details on that.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to have a great family life, seemed to love his family, right? And that was really good for him. It wasn't like he had a really terrible home life. And he makes this journey where he doesn't know if he's going to get there, right? He doesn't know that he's going to actually get to America, but he leaves the training camp. He, goes to the jungle, trains planes and automobiles. I mean, just, I hope my children are never in a situation that difficult, but man, I got to imagine that builds up to just outstanding courage in you and just bravery. And wow, I mean, I was really impressed.
Part of me wonders.
See, this is why I got to stay away from it.
Yeah.
You're making me like this guy too much, man. Dadgummit.
Yeah, but then he said all these terrible. I couldn't believe they left in that 5-minute part where he just talked about how much he dislikes you and I as a university.
There you
I mean,
go.
5 minutes. It didn't really fit in the story, but it was in there. He's like,
There
they're
you go,
bald
Chris.
coach, something, Southern accent, something. I don't know. It didn't fit for me. But no, so I think it's like, great point about just like the courage it takes to be that young and make that kind of a decision, just to like, I'm up and leaving my family. But it's like, maybe, is it like the sweet spot where you're so young and maybe you're just you're naive enough to believe that, I'll figure this out. I'll make it from Guatemala to Belize to this part of Mexico to that part of Mexico to a detention center for 2 months. I'll just figure it out. There's just like, that intersection is probably what enabled him. He is courageous, but he also didn't actually fully know what he was up against, and just, has that innate desire for like, I can really better myself. I know that my best opportunity for a great life is at this place, and I'm going to go for it and see what happens. Because basically, once he made that decision in Guatemala, I have to figure there's no turning back. There's no, okay, I'm coming home, Mom. That's it. You lost, to quote Marcellus Wallace, he lost L.A. privileges. He lost his Cuba privileges. I don't know if you guys have seen Pulp Fiction. But basically, Bruce Willis, you can't come back here, dude. You messed up. I'm not going to kill you anymore, but you ain't coming back. No more Cuba. And so he made that decision. And I think it is incredible that he would. And then, the wrestling ability that he possesses is, I think, pretty tremendous, but it's still a question how great he's going to be.
Christian, I think that adds to it, right? You said the young and naive, and I think you're spot on there. You nailed it. But I think he's at least smart enough to consider, okay, well, if I leave, they're probably not taking me back, right? I probably can't just go back. And then, something bad could happen to me along this journey. And then on top of that, it's like, Cubans can't travel to America at this point in time, at least. So it's not like, oh, hey, my family will come visit me next July once I make it. Like, well, that's not happening. Like, you literally don't know when the next time you're going to see your family is. You don't know. Yeah. Because there's no travel between Cuba and America right now at this point in time. So, I mean, there's just like, I had to think he's weighing those things in his head at least a little bit. And then I agree with the naivete thing. But, dude, man. Yeah, I'm just so impressed, and I try to put myself in his shoes and think about that, and it's like, I I don't want to get all sentimental, but we are effing lucky we don't have to make tough ass decisions like that on a regular basis, Christian. Think about how spoiled we are.
Oh,
I mean, oh my gosh.
That's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm like, oh wow, I felt like a baby when I moved here away from my family in Virginia. It's like I can just go there. I was like, all right, I miss them. I'll just go there, or they can just come here. They're like, all right, so I'll shut up about that for the rest of my life.
Did you guys see the after show with Anthony?
No.
He was. We had him on right after, and he couldn't keep it together. He was crying. Just you could tell he was proud, but it also made him miss his family.
Yeah.
And I know his family they were sending his family the film so they could see it, but yeah, he was very emotional, and it was cool, but also tough to watch at the same time.
Man,
yeah. There's no way I could not watch this now.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
There's no way I can't now. And I think you guys hit on a big part. We got that underdeveloped frontal lobe when we're teenagers, man. That's why you think you're Superman. You don't analyze that danger. You just know I'll make it work out. I think he made it. I got to watch it now. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be all right. You can compartmentalize it enough. I don't think you're going to undercoach your 41-pounders moving forward as a result. So you know what? How good does he need to be? I just love this Etchemindia kid.
Yeah. Man, yeah. I highly recommend it for everyone, even just from a life perspective. I think it's important. You don't need to care about Anthony Etchemindia. You don't need to want to know his story better, but from the understanding the perspective of life, I think it's really vital. And who knows, maybe Trump will watch it and he'll loosen travel restrictions to Cuba, because why do we still have travel restrictions to Cuba? Oh, who freaking knows? It's dumb as shit. Don't even get I'm getting all fired up now.
Ben's about to get fired up.
We got travel restrictions to Cuba. It's right there. It's 90 miles away, Christian.
I don't know. I think we can kind of go there, sort of.
Oh yeah, so I went there and wrestled, but I think it's like you have to have a really specific type of pass or visa or whatever.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it's that hard anymore. I really don't. I think you can just go there as a tourist.
You can just buy a ticket to Cuba. I'm going to Google it right now.
Haven't people in this company done that?
People in this company have just gone, just gone for fun, just like a trip with a friend to Cuba. Not like
so.
Is it
work. Is it Cubans that can't come to America then?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Traveling to Cuba.
He's looking it up. All right. Ben's about to book a flight to Cuba.
I just Googled it. Traveling to Cuba with U.S. passport is simple.
Yeah, it's simple. There you go.
Google told me.
The restrictions on travel, the restrictions and reason for travel, where you can spend your money are all American rules. So regardless of American regulations, your passport is valid in Cuba. So maybe some of the Cuban companies American companies don't let you spend your money in Cuba.
I don't know.
That's new.
That would make it tough. But regardless, we can go.
Oh, it went into law June 5th, Christian, 2019. So it's new.
I know people that definitely went there before then, but that didn't wrestle.
That's what I love about FRL. You never know where it's going to take you. You never know. I love it.
Well, who's the leader of Cuba? It's not Fidel anymore, right? I'm gonna yell at him.
Correct. Wow, history buff Ben Askren.
Leader of.
Let's see.
Miguel Diaz-Canel.
Miguel. He's not dressed in military fatigue, so he seems like a softer presence of sorts. Okay, so
loosen it up, bro. Loosen it up.
Bracky, you've been relatively sound. You have any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far? Is Facebook okay?
Yeah, Facebook's fine.
Are you warring with our friends?
No, everyone. Okay. It's good, respectful conversation this morning.
Wow, great fellowship.
Joe Caprino tried to start the whole Americans wrestling for other countries thing when he said Miocic was 5th.
Oh, jeez. I guess that's.
I told him not today.
Got a point.
Daggone it! Don't get me fired up.
Other than that, no, it's been good.
Okay. Hey, did we get a poster? Do you want to show this? Yeah. Explain this, because we got something. This is pretty sweet. I think you're gonna like this, Ben. I hope you can see it. Okay.
So Scott Ross, big FloWrestling guy. He's a Georgia guy, too.
Ross is the man.
He told us he was sending us something. And I think it came after last Thursday's show. Yeah, help me hold this up here.
It's a scroll. We'll reveal Look at this.
Oh no!
That's
Stop.
Kale. That's Kale. Has Kale met his match? He is leg attacking.
Wait.
A bear, a large grizzly bear.
What's going on right now?
Bart the Bear.
Bart the bear. Listen.
I thought you guys were gonna show me a one more shot poster.
Oh no, this is way better.
What is this, Christian?
It's Kale Sanderson wrestling a bear.
Why?
Why not?
He's met his match.
He met his match.
Who paid Kale and the bear to be there together? Is this like an A6 promotion? What is it?
He's in the pocket of Big Smokey.
No, this is Ambassador Bart the Bear, ambassador for the Vital Ground Foundation, Park City, Utah.
Ah, Park City. Beautiful.
We got Bart's autograph too.
Wow,
the bear.
He signed it, and so did Kale.
Yeah, right there.
That is a huge bear.
What the? Oh my!
I wonder if
I
he
don't even know what to
finished.
say.
He's not even feeding him any hips. He's finishing easy.
Kale's superimposed. Kale is not shooting a single leg on that bear.
No,
This
he's
happened.
touching his leg.
He literally wrestled this.
No.
Ben, this happened.
Sorry.
I'm sorry,
he's
Ben.
touching his leg, Ben. Look.
That is a computer-generated image, guys.
That's real.
This is real unless you get Kale on the show to refute the authenticity of this. So it's real until that time, Ben.
Bear's doing a butt
Guys,
drag.
He's
You're
trying
not
to
gonna
butt
shoot
drag.
that shot.
I'm sorry, Ben.
Does Kale finish? That's the question. Does
He's
he finish?
finishing.
I think he does.
He's got great head position. He's about to go right behind that knee. No problem. He's gonna fall.
Scott said Bart is a
my
famous bear. He is the bear in Great Outdoors.
See, it's a famous bear. It's a famous wrestling bear with questionable leg defense. I'm sorry. You can be mad
I
all
would
you
like to
want.
wrestle a bear. I can't wrestle too much anymore, but I could go a little upper body with a bear. If Flo could set that up, I would do it for sure. Get Lance Palmer's bear, maybe.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we'll talk to Lance about that.
Does Lance? Now I know he wrestled bears. That didn't mean he has bears. Did he have bears?
Yeah.
His family
they owned
owned
the bear.
bears. Yes. No, they
owned
had
it.
when they had Lance on. I didn't realize this either. They had all kinds of stuff. They were like Joe Exotic.
Oh my gosh. He's Lance Exotic.
You called them Palmer's Joe Exotic.
No, okay. What I mean by that is they had animals like Joe Exotic. They are not like Joe Exotic because the Palmers are not.
And they're definitely not in prison.
They're not.
There's a documentary that actually followed him that talked about it.
You're right, there is.
Pinned,
I watched that.
something like that. I can't remember the name it was.
Wow.
I think you're right. What's the dad's name? I'm blanking right now.
Arnold?
No.
I don't know his name.
Christian, why are you trying to piss me off this morning?
I like it. Dwayne?
Dwayne?
Could be Dwayne.
Dwayne, yeah, I think that's it.
Looks like Dwayne Palmer.
Have you never watched Pinned, Christian? You got to watch it with your son.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Is it better than One Last Shot?
You want me to read you the synopsis? I'll read you the summary. Lance is a 3-time Ohio State champion who wrestles 600-pound bears for practice. Matt comes from a broken home and starves himself out of determination to become his school's first champion in 30 years. Pinned is the wild, true story of what wrestlers endure to become champions.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you seen One Last Shot, Coach Roper?
Yeah, there's if it's about wrestling, I'm probably going to try and watch it at some point. So yeah, very early in my wrestling days, I got One Last Shot.
Dang, I still haven't.
Is there a
seen
copy of it at the Hall of Fame?
Oh, there's.
I'm
gotta
sure
be.
I'll dig and see if I can find it. I can make this happen for you, Christian. I'll make this happen. You're gonna get to see One Last Shot.
All right.
Jason Bryan just said One More Shot is the worst sports movie of all time.
Oh, is it called One More Shot?
It's One More Shot. One More Shot. Yes.
One More Shot.
Yes,
See,
sorry.
I've been hybriding.
Yeah, Last
Dance and One More Shot into One Last Shot. They're both.
Wayne
all-time
Boyd
greats.
tried charging us too much money. Just FYI, that's why we can't air it.
Well, the thing's got to be.
He
a
would
cash
not-
cow. I'm sure it's raking in the dough right now. So you're not just gonna give it away.
You're being mean. Stop being mean to Wayne. You're being
I'm
mean
not
to
being
everyone
mean
this
to.
morning.
No. That's not being mean to Wayne Boyd. One More Shot is not making any money as we speak right now. That is what I'm saying. That is not
Well,
a personal
we can't-
insult
we can't
against
prove-
anyone.
We can't prove that.
royalties, dude.
Yeah, royalties. All right, so okay, hey, let's be professionals here.
man.
Got something serious to talk about. So
We do?
sort of. The NCAA president Mark Emmert said, "College athletes and college students, you can't have college sports if you don't have college campuses open and having students on them. So basically, there is discussion right now, and Coach Roper probably has some great insight here as to if there's no college happening in the falls, then there will be no college football potentially. Now, this goes in contradiction with something Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, has said, but there seems to be some dispute over, hey, if there's not kids on campus, we cannot have this happen. And then Coach Bob Bowlesby's like, well, if we have online classes, that could work. I don't know what your guys' thoughts or opinions or what you're hearing, Coach Roper, but I wanted to discuss that a little bit.
Well, I'm not hearing anything other than what NCAA is mandating we can do with our athletes and with recruiting. But like my opinion, that smacks of like almost politics a little bit. It's like, let's not get it twisted. Most of these universities, they act like businesses, right? When they have kids on campus, they're making more money. And that's the big thing with college, not just college sports, but college in general. Not having these kids on campus, man, it's financially very detrimental to these colleges. They want them back on campus. Don't get it twisted. They want people back there. So I think as much people, I mean, you guys know how crazy everybody is about college football. Bracky, I know you're a huge football fan.
Yep.
Like, think about how disappointed you'd be if there's no college football. That's gonna hurt your quality of life. So making that kind of like
life.
It literally will.
It will.
Right. So putting that card on the table just smacks of like, we want kids back on campus in the fall. That's what it sounds like to me.
And yet, absolutely. And then you look at what Bowlesby's saying too is the Big 12. A lot of the schools in the Big 12 are in states that are reopening. West Virginia is reopening. Right. Texas is reopening. Oklahoma is reopening. So I'm sure he feels much more confident about things happening. And it will be very interesting to see because, I mean, you're going to tell these SEC schools they can't play football. They're just going to do it anyways. Like, I mean,
growing up in the South, that's the truth. It is as close to religion down there. I'm not kidding. That's not hyperbole. It's as close to religion as anything gets. SEC football, it's wild.
Yep. And in my opinion, the schools hold the power here. Because if they don't have a football season or it's drastically different and they lose a lot of money, a lot of these schools are going to have to cut sports. They're going to have to limit opportunities for students to be on campus, which hurts them financially, which could lead to like closing of schools. And then the NCAA has less to govern and less reason to be around. And then Mark Emmert's out of a job. So I really think the schools hold the majority of the power here as well.
Well, in Not Science Corner, they do say that the vaccine's coming along nicely, which I would think would help if they had it before the beginning of the year.
Don't push the vaccine on the show, Christian.
I'm not pushing it. This is Not Science Corner.
The pharmaceuticals don't sponsor this podcast.
Daggone it. I shouldn't even have said it. No, be quiet, Ben. I said this is Not Science Corner. I prefaced it.
We're going to be back, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I think so.
Everything is
like
trending
September.
in the right direction. I think
Yes.
I think you'll start to see probably athletes be allowed back on campus maybe July 1. Yeah.
I have a problem with optimism, so it's been kind of destroying me here recently, and it's kind of making me move the other way because, society's been shut down since March. But I'm still holding on hope that everything's going to be good. We're going to have football, and we're making actually, the video's basically done. It should be out today about the impact of no football for college sports. It's kind of a more comprehensive Flow Sports piece that we put together. But
crazy.
It's talked with a bunch of coaches, the UNC softball coach and other wrestlers. Are you in it, Lee? Did Mike Mal talk about it with you? Who did he talk about?
No,
maybe Bono?
Bormet.
Coach Bormet's in it. Is a classy bald coach. I knew that. It was down to Roper and Sean Bormet. Anyways, it should be coming out soon. Is that not an apt description of both Coach Bormet and Coach Roper?
I mean, you're trying
the
to
bald part, yes. Classy, I don't know.
Your Southern class, which is which is a class all its own, Coach. Okay.
Hey,
now,
Christian, before we get to the next topic, can I do one really fun thing? I'm going to read – I was on IMDb for the movie Pinned, and I wanted to read the summary for one more shot. Can I read the summary to you?
Please.
But
Okay. We haven't done this. Based on a true story about two college wrestlers, T.J. Williams and Art Munson, whose battle for the National AAU Wrestling Championship in 1958 resulted in a near-fatal accident, leaving Williams with a broken neck and psychiatric problems. The story continues 30 years later when wrestler Brock Jones is admitted to the same institution as Williams after suffering a mental breakdown. The two become friends as Williams tries to get Jones back on track and coach him to another victory.
Oh, my goodness.
You're excited now.
I didn't know there was such a strong mental health tie. I don't know if that makes me more or less excited.
So the Williams character is in a mental hospital for 30 years?
I believe, Coach Roper, you can correct me. I believe the Williams character is Danny Hodge, and the Brock Jones, the younger guy, is John Smith.
Yes.
Wow.
I think.
Star power, though.
If you've seen the terrible wrestling movie with John Cena in it, that really it's basically the same story of that terrible wrestling movie that starred John Cena where he hits like the reverse cradle and pins a guy at
Is
the
it
end
called
of
Reversal?
I can't remember the name of it. But again, I've got a disease for wrestling, so if it's got wrestling, I'm probably watching it. It's basically the same
I don't know what
premise.
you're talking about.
Oh, yes. What's it called?
The Marine? There's John Cena one called the Marine.
No.
That's about him being a Marine, dude.
No, I think that's about the Marines.
No, you don't say.
What is it? Is it Legendary?
Legendary, maybe?
I cannot think of the name
Legendary.
of it. Really, I can't.
It's
you could tell me I couldn't remember.
Wow, it has a review from you, Coach Roper. Best wrestling.
Not very good.
I found
Ben, what's the star rating on IMDb for One More Shot?
Yeah.
We
got 6.2 for Legendary.
Hold on.
Probably one less star.
Danny Glover's in this?
Danny Glover? They got Glover, and you still didn't like it.
Where do you find the stars on IMDb? Because I don't think.
It's at the top, right when you.
Does One More Shot predate stars?
6.9. 6.9 stars, Christian.
It beat Legendary.
Nice.
Take that.
That's
a nice score.
It is. It is indeed. Okay. Well, not that we should ever attempt to be on topic, but why don't we give it a whirl? Let's give that one more shot. What do you say?
Oh, hold on. I clicked on
Perfect
the ratings,
segue.
Christian. Someone's been paying him because there's seven votes at number 1, which is the second most, and there's 14 votes at a 10. So we're very skewed on whether it's totally outstanding or totally terrible. There's very, very few votes in the middle.
I think that's the best place for a movie to be. Either completely hated or loved. One or the other. I like that. I like that.
Man.
So okay. So even though this has all been great, the reason we wanted to have Coach Roper on is to fill in some deficiencies which Kyle, Ben, and I have, which is some of these guys I don't know. I never watched them wrestle. I don't know much about their game.
Yeah.
Even Ben was saying that as well. So we're like, who could we reach out to? And I was like, I think I know just the guy. And Coach Roper, give us a sense of the treasure trove that you have just 10 minutes from where you live, but also just kind of how much wrestling you watch.
I've got a disease, man. I really do. I can't get enough. It's just, I just really enjoy it. Like in my downtime, I'm cutting grass. I'm listening to wrestling podcasts. Ever since I first started in 8th grade, man, I've just been eaten up by this wrestling thing. So watching a ton of film, and I wasn't very good myself, again, to my goals of what I wanted to achieve. So when I started coaching, I had to learn all these different positions that I had no idea in. So just watched a whole lot, and then just kind of the circuitous route that my life's gone on with wrestling. My wife works at the Dan Gable Museum at Waterloo, 5 minutes down from my house. So I've got all the resources and archives that they have access to. So I've been able to watch a lot of matches that I've wanted to watch, like Rick Sanders. I've wanted to watch that guy watch a folk style match for a lot of years of my coaching career. And now that my wife works there, I can pull up and watch Rick Sanders wrestle folk style matches. So my life's a crazy coincidence when it comes to wrestling. And like I said, I love watching this stuff.
Good. Good. Well, I think it's a perfect storm that you would leave Georgia and end up at UNI, just that close to the Dan Gable Museum. So that worked out very well for a junkie such as yourself. So the first matchup we have is number 2 seed California versus number 7 seed New York. Now, just to give you some context of what we're doing, if you're just tuning in for the first time, we've been doing all sorts of fake stuff, and sometimes it works out great, and you have Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs yelling at each other. Maybe that was great. Maybe that was
that was so great.
That was so great. That was so great.
I'm glad you think it was great.
Yes, it was awesome.
I actually have a picture on my phone during that, Christian, where you can tell you did not think it was great.
I have a pretty bad poker face when it comes to that stuff. You kind of always know what I'm thinking, which is good and bad.
You're like, please just let this stop. Please let this stop. This train wreck that I cannot control. Please make this stop.
Yeah, that's a helpless feeling. It's like sitting in the corner and watching your guy get drilled on. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything about this. This is just going to happen to him until it stops.
Good analogy. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, New York versus California, right? Is that what I said? It is what I said. Okay, so these would be is this the round of 8, I guess?
Round of 8,
right?
quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals. Okay, so these are quarters.
Hey, Christian, can I ask you what the process will be here? Because now we have 4 people, so if we go 2-2, it's going to be a tie, right?
Okay. Yes.
Just dial up Danny boy.
Where's the nomad? He is. He made me mad on the last show, but that's okay.
And then we're cumulatively picking a winner for the match, and then we're you're right. So we're not all keeping individual team scores, correct?
Right. So basically, if it's 3-1, then that guy's the winner by decision, unless we equally determine it was a bonus point victory, which will be pretty rare.
Got it. Okay.
In these scenarios. Cool. So what we're doing is we're taking all the best wrestling states and we're making super teams from multiple generations of Division I wrestlers. So you've got Steven Abbas and Eric Guerrero and Aymar all on the same team for California. And so the first match we did one yesterday or last show. I forget who it even was at this point.
We did a play-in duel between Illinois and Michigan, which Michigan won. And then we did number 1 seed Pennsylvania versus number 8 seed Michigan.
Okay.
And Pennsylvania won that 24-6.
So, spoiler alert, Pennsylvania's got quite a squad, but I really like this California team too. They've got a lot. Iowa's is pretty salty as well. So this is going to get really, really fun, really, really fast. New York has a really good team too. So why don't we get it started at? Are you cool with starting at 125, Ben? Sometimes you like starting at like 165. Okay.
I don't like neglecting the big boys, Christian. You hate the big boys. I'm good with them.
I love the big boys.
There's some great big boy matchups that we're about to talk about in this series right here.
Oh,
there's some that are going to be great. Actually, this duel.
We need, and I want to square away some of these starting positions too, and we'll get to these when the time comes. But we'll start at 125 with Troy Nickerson versus Steven Abbas. Nickerson, a 4-time AA, multiple finalist, NCAA champion at Cornell. Steven Abbas, a 3-time NCAA champion. Obviously went on to have a great international career as well. Steven Abbas, Troy Nickerson, Coach Roper, your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, just when you called me about this, I was pretty excited. This is the things I love nerding out on, and I'll just do for fun anyway. And right when I started, this match is going to be great. Just the 2 styles everybody have. You've got Nickerson with his incredible flexibility. He was willing to get in scrambles. Man, really good lead leg single leg. And then you've got Abbas, who in my opinion, other than Ben, might be the second greatest scrambler that I've ever watched in folk style wrestling. Mm-hmm. So this is just going to be a scrambled mess. And it's going to be a style that's going to be exciting to watch. But when we get to talking about it, I think there's probably a guy that's pretty clear favorite in my book. But I think it's going to be a really exciting style matchup that's basically going to be 2 guys tangled in a knot for however long the match is going to be, 7 minutes long.
Yeah, so, I mean, Abbas, I feel like, and it's interesting with Nickerson because injury so impacted his career, right? He kind of had to be a different guy towards the end of his career as I have come to understand it, right? And so
he was a phenom.
Yeah, coming out of New York. He won? He had won everything. I'm pretty sure he was the consensus #1 guy coming out of high school. Just total the #1 wrestler coming out. But I feel like Abbas just had more ways to score. When he was at his best, he would figure out a way to get a takedown or two. I think Nickerson's so hard to score on. We saw Abbas put up some major scores in big matches, but I don't think he would against Troy. But I do think Abbas would be the winner here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm Abbas too. Anybody that beats Mavlik Batirov is going to get my vote. He's just on a different level for me. He's one of the best I've watched do it, man. Maybe one of the best 25-pounders of all time.
Yeah, 100%.
He really is. He truly is one of the best 25s ever. Any thoughts here, Branky?
No, you guys nailed it. I think it's Abbas.
Okay. I don't know a thing about Clark Anderson, but he's New York's 133 pounds. This is where Roper. What do you know about Clark Anderson?
It's Claire, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But a little. Claire's actually
you're already further along than me.
He's actually the very first recruiting call I ever got. I was much better at academics than I was at wrestling back in high school. And he was coaching at Duke at the time. So he was my very first recruiting call of all time. Small world. But what you got out of Claire when he wrestled, he liked to get to underhooks a lot. Didn't have a very good leg attack. It was a lot of counter stuff. He's pretty good at pancaking guys from those double underhook positions. He was pretty good on top. He'd go inside wrist, pull crab rod a fair amount, which is pretty common for anybody from New York. From my understanding, it kind of originated in that Long Island area. So you got a lot of crab riders from this state, and he was really good with his legs. He'd go double legs, power half, and turn guys, but more of a defensive and pressure. He'd wrestle pretty hard and keep forward pace. And against who he's wrestling, going to that underhook to Guerrero's like slip high crotch side, it's not a good recipe. This is a bad style matchup as it might get that anything we're going to talk about, because this is Guerrero's wheelhouse that he just kind of picks apart. And Eric in his own right is one of the best technicians I've seen. Great high crotch to the right side, maybe one of the best Granbys of all time, and himself a very good scrambler. I watched his like corner sit, crotch lock, high crotch so much. Very good scramble position. So this is, in my opinion, going to be an ugly one for Claire. And I think I got bonus in this. One of the few ones I'd put bonus points up.
Oh my gosh!
And
he obviously didn't recruit you hard enough. Jeez.
I got a high opinion of Claire. He was a great wrestler. He really was. But it's just a bad style matchup, in my opinion.
Guerrero was ridiculous. How long into getting to know Doug Schwab was it before you asked him about the Guerrero match at Carver Hawkeye? Because it might. I don't know if I could have waited 4 minutes. One of the very first things. Okay, so let's talk about it.
Like one of the very first things, and he talks about the noise. He couldn't describe it. He's like, you felt the noise more than you heard it. And he's like, I've only been in Carver a few times where you felt the noise more than you really heard it. And he said it was one of those times. And he talks about how having just all that history and the crowd behind you just takes you to new levels. And man, looking across and seeing Doug Schwab as my boss is one of the weirdest things in my life. He was my very first college wrestling match I ever watched when he won it as a sophomore. I had a late start in wrestling. So he was one of my wrestling heroes, man, when I was coming through as a competitor. So I definitely had a lot of questions like that for him. And just, man, he said when that place got loud and the crowd was behind you, there was something different about Carver, which we've all seen in those dual meets. There is something different about that place.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like if you're starting like, okay, the list, all right, you want to get into wrestling, you're trying to learn a little bit about it, and you're sending someone on a YouTube deep dive, that has to be on the list. I know it was on my list. I found that match. I don't know how I found it, but this is, well over 10 years ago. But I was like, this is unbelievable. This is crazy. And yeah, so I imagine, Eric Guerrero was obviously went on to have an amazing career in NCAA-wise, 3-time champion, 4-time All-American. He's an all-time great, which actually is the ultimate compliment to Carver and Schwab. Is like what that building really can overcome. It's crazy. It's kind of one of those things. Mm-hmm. It's sort of an undeniable presence in our sport.
Yes. But
Guerrero here over Claire Anderson for all the reasons you said, Coach Roper.
Is it regular or bonus?
I'm not comfortable going bonus, but if Coach Roper wants to go bonus, we can go bonus.
I'm not going bonus. I'm not going bonus.
All right, 3-3.
If Bracky goes bonus, then no, it's.
I'll say regular.
It's 6-0 now.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6-0. You're right.
Yeah, this is good. This is a tough matchup for. I was like, New York can maybe make it kind of scrappy, and then I started looking. I was like,
I think they might.
Go watch Guerrero and his leg ride defense. It'll change your mind. Go watch Guerrero's leg ride defense. He was dangerous there. He had real good back trap. Get those double boots in. It's pretty easy to back trap.
Are you insinuating I haven't been watching Eric Guerrero leg ride defense? Come on, Lee.
Get in there, man. You'll see how dangerous he is. There's some back points coming.
You might be right. Certainly. Okay. 41. Let's talk about this one. Yanni D versus Jerry Abbas. Not Steve. Jerry Abbas. Jerry, a 4-time AA. Yanni D, a 2-time champ on his quest to be a 3-timer and then 4-timer. He's in the mix. We love Yanni. I didn't watch that much Jerry. What are our thoughts?
Well, if you guys want to talk about all-time matches, Christian.
Oh, yeah.
One of my, I would say, if I made a top 10 matches, Jerry Abbas, Lincoln McIlravey's a top 10. You have to watch.
Has to be on your list. Yes.
Has to be on your list. So unfortunately, Jerry was on the losing side of that matchup. And Lee, you were talking about Steven being a great scrambler. Jerry was one in the very, very early days of scrambling as well, and had a lot of unique things. So stylistically, though, I would say also that's going to put him in some danger against Yanni.
Yes,
yeah, it's almost like the old school of scrambling and the new school. It'd be a good man. It's hard to beat Yanni in those matches, though. He's just really taking things to a new level right now with his flexibility too. He can just wrestle in some positions that are amazing. That flexibility, man, that is a weapon for that guy.
Yeah, he uses it well. Yeah, the Abbas McIlravey. That was when I was like, how can someone attack this much and not die? I mean, all he just boost scoots and this and that. It was just not really, but fall off a cliff. The guy was wrestling so unbelievably hard at the end there, and then it was one of those ones you're like, oh, he's not coming back in this match. Even when you watch and you kind of know how it is, he would kind of be coming back, and then he would give up a takedown or be ridden or something like that. All right, it's not going to happen, and then it freaking happened. It's one of those matches where. It's a wonder they were able to keep up with the score. It was so many stalls, and it was very Miller Realbuto-esque, but even amplified, right? So I'm glad they got the score right in that one, because that could have been bad. But for our purposes here, perhaps it's recency bias. I think it's just he's probably better. I would take Yanni by a decision for sure over Jerry Abbas.
Yanni, New York is on the board. 6-3, heading to 149.
Okay, 149, little lineup dispute here. Who would you start, Lee Roper or Ben Askren? Jesse Jansen or Gregor Gillespie? I have a pretty strong feeling here, but I'm curious for your thoughts.
Ooh. Jesse Jansen for me, not even a question.
Same.
I go Jansen in this. And Jansen had a big influence, and there's some bias there. He had a big influence on my wrestling. I watch him blitz through a senior national bracket with his roll through crab ride half, and I was like, I got to learn how to do that. He had a big influence on my wrestling. So there's some bias there, but I'm going Jansen all the way. He was pretty dominant his senior year in college too.
Yeah, I'll go Jesse also. Although I think it is, Gregor versus Jesse will be a really fun matchup. But Jesse's in really good shape. I saw him in New York City last year. They could probably still go at it. Maybe do some top bottom out or something.
Weren't they talking trash on our Facebook to each other about this, like in a playful way?
They were,
dude.
I think so.
I got hit up about this match. I got a text message like, "Yo, Gregor's starting over Jesse Jansen."
They were also listed as co-starters.
Yeah, but not initially.
Oh, they weren't?
No.
Okay.
Gregor was the initial starter, and I was like, what?
Well, the other thing, Kyle and Christian, that is Jesse was a legend because wasn't he the first 5-timer in New York?
Oh, I don't know.
I think that's right. Something like that.
I think that. Yeah, I think that's right, and that's why he's kind of so legendary in that state is because he was the first one to do it 5 times.
So, they both won, looking at the write-up JD did, they both won insane brackets.
Yes.
Gregor won his true sophomore year in a bracket that had Jordan Burroughs, Dustin Slater, Josh Terrell, Lance Palmer, JP O'Connor, Jordan Lean, Matt Storniolo, Kyler Sanderson, Dan Valamont. And then
that's a good bracket.
Jesse Jansen won He won the OW as well. He beat Ryan Trella and Zach Esposito in a bracket that included Trent Paulson, Matt Storniolo, Ty Eustace, Dustin Minotti, and Jeremy Spades.
Shout out Matt Storniolo. He's in a lot of really good weights. My thought is this: that Jansen, when he won, was just at a higher level and separated himself better than Gregor maybe did. I mean, Gregor's NCAA final was pretty controversial. Over Henning, it was very much in question. Did he get the takedown? Did he not get? So it was kind of a. Gregor was obviously really good. Gregor's great on top. He was kind of a frequent auto top guy, but it just seemed. What?
Did you say Henning? He didn't wrestle Henning in the NCAA finals.
Who was it? Was it?
Well, I'm blanking who he wrestled, but Travis Paulson wrestled Craig Henning in the finals.
That's maybe. I have my matches mixed up.
57, 65 too. Is it a bigger weight?
Henning got screwed on that one.
Yes. Okay, so wrong guy.
Yeah.
But
yes.
See, that's where my memory's going.
Who did he beat? Was it Trella? It was Trella.
Yes, it was
right?
Trella.
I believe it was Trella.
I think that's right. Or no, it was Esposito.
No.
It wasn't.
Jansen beat Esposito.
It wasn't?
No, Jansen beat Esposito.
Jansen beat Esposito.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm getting that mixed up. It was Jansen beat Esposito. You're right.
All right. Okie doke.
Okay.
So
who are we going with?
We're going with Jesse.
Okay. He had 50 pins too. That was another thing I thought was interesting.
Wow.
Are we allowed to keep if New York wins, are we allowed to keep Gillespie in case we want to slide him in there?
You got to keep him ready. You don't know what's going to happen.
Keep him ready.
He's got to prepare like he's the guy. You have to prepare like you're the guy, whether you're the guy or not. You got to think you're the guy.
Deal.
Okay. So now, all right, give us the lowdown on Adam Tirapelli. This is a great matchup.
Yeah, contrasting styles again too. Tirapelli was very difficult to score on. He was hard to move. He had really good hand fight. His hands were heavy. So it's going to be a little bit of contrasting styles. And, I mean, Tirapelli won a great bracket too. So you got Dave Esposito was in that bracket. Zadok was in that bracket. There's somebody else. Jared Lawrence was young in that bracket. So he had some good guys in that bracket. He won as well. And, just very, very good defense. He was one of those guys that was good at a lot of the things that you don't like practicing as much. Front headlock, mat returns, those kind of gritty positions that get overlooked in wrestling sometimes. I really struggle with who would win this one, and I don't know. I flipped a coin. That's how I decided. I really couldn't decide who was going to win the match. I flipped a coin. Jansen came up and won the coin flip. 51% to 49%, in my opinion.
You did it 100 times, didn't you? You flipped it 100 times.
I did it.
Sure.
I would love to say that, but it was just once.
Hey, breaking news from Binghamton head coach Kyle Borshoff. He said Jesse was the first 4-timer. Nickerson was the first 5-timer. And Coach Borshoff is Team Gregor Gillespie.
He's Team Gregor.
All right.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right. So I'm not going to go. Ben, you go.
I'm going to pick Jesse Jansen. I think his performance in the finals against Zach Esposito solidifies him for me.
Okay. I am also going to go Jesse Jansen. He was my gut pick, and hearing Coach Roper explain both their styles, just erring on the side of a guy with maybe a few more ways to score.
Okay, so we're tied at 6-6 now.
Oh, my gosh. And just like that, here comes New York. J.P. O'Connor versus Isaiah Martinez. This is a more modern one. JPO won in 2010. Imar won in 15 and 16 at 157 pounds. Coach Roper, take it away. Give the people a little JPO fun facts.
So he really good on top. Again, another crab rider, really sticky. Didn't turn as many guys as some of the other ones, but really good 2-on-1 on his feet. He would go like 2-on-1, backside post double. Had like a cross ankle or cross knee. I can't remember which one it was from that 2-on-1. He'd do a lot too. But that was his main position. So for me, the matchup between these two is who gets to their position the most. Does Imar get to his underhooks and to his cross knee, his running cross knee does a lot? Or does JP get to his 2-on-1? Who controls the position? Where does the fight happen, so to speak? And I went Martinez on this. I think he's just a little bit too dynamic and too many different ways to score from his position. O'Connor really scored the same way from his 2-on-1 quite a bit, and that's going to be pretty hard to do against a guy at Martinez caliber and his ability defensively as well.
What are your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Imar for sure. No question.
57 Imar is just he was a force of nature. I mean, you take out the Nolf loss and look at how he won matches. He was, I mean, the James Green matches that he was able to win. I mean, how he was able to move him around. He rode him out the one time. I think Imar had so many different ways to win. I think physically he presents a lot of problems for JPO. I think he could overwhelm a lot of guys. And I think if it comes down to who gets to their position, he is getting to his underhook, right? I don't think there's I just can't see a scenario where he gets two on one and controlled in that way. I don't think there's many guys in the world that can do that. And JPO, the year he won, it wasn't exactly the greatest year at 157. It was one of those who's going to take it, right? It was relatively speaking a down year.
Who was hurt that year, Christian?
150 Jordan Ernest Burroughs, I believe.
Yeah,
was hurt that year. So that definitely.
I forgot about impact.
That. Yeah, Vegas did him in.
That's right.
Chipped a tooth, tore his ACL.
He beat O'Connor beat Gaethje in the quarters.
Yeah, Gaethje. So JPO was the 1 seed. Beat Gaethje, beat Fittery, that was like Fittery's kind of breakout thing. 14-2 over Fittery. Fittery is one of those guys where he's just in shootouts, and he would probably. I would like to have. I'm sure I did watch that match when it happened, but I don't remember it at all. And then Chase Pammy, out of the what seed was he? The 7. Jesse Dong. Oh my gosh, this weight class. How good was Jesse Dong, Coach? Help me out here. I feel like I talk about this guy every 4th show.
He had a strange leg ride style too. He rode this weird cross body, put his leg on the outside and the guy's far hip. It was a strange ride he had.
Yeah, he was weird. Okay, Imar. So we've got Imar by decision over JPO. So that makes it 9-6 Cali. Now here comes Kyle Douglas Dake versus Mark Schultz.
Right.
Can we have Kyle Dake and Mark Schultz on the show to argue?
No.
Please.
No.
This would be fantastic.
Yes. Don't follow Mark Schultz on Twitter, but if you do, you already know why this is a horrible idea. This is a horrible idea. Among Ben's worst ideas. I can't believe Coach Roper is co-signing this terrible idea. You're supposed to be a measured voice of reason, and here you are.
I'll put gasoline on that fire in a second.
Oh, man. Jeez. Well, let me put gas on this fire. Kyle Dake decimates Mark Schultz, in my opinion.
I think you're underselling how good Mark Schultz was.
Yes, yeah. Tell him. Listen, Roper, let me fill you in just in case you didn't listen to last week's show.
Here we go.
My man, Christian Piles.
Listen,
I heard it.
He said one of the greatest NCAA finals of all time was like watching 2 JV kids wrestle.
I don't think I said that. If I did
that, he did it.
Listen, they both fell on their backs for 8 minutes straight. I'm sorry. It didn't do it for me. I watched Jason Off and Imar and Dake Taylor. It didn't do it for me. It's my opinion, okay? I don't have to love every match that everyone else loves. It's a perfectly fine. If you want entertainment, that's your match. Because believe me, they pin each other 5 different times. Or they take turns throwing each other to their backs. It's a great match. But it's just not for me. Not my favorite. Is that okay? Is it okay to not universally agree with everyone what is and isn't a great match?
Piles, did you get body locked a lot? Do you just not like upper body wrestling?
I got everything to lie. What are you talking about? It has nothing to do with that. Certainly did. But yeah, no, that's irrelevant. Next topic. No,
I don't. I think you're underselling how good Mark Schultz was. He really was one of the best guys to do this. And he's one of the few guys I think that can actually compete athletically with Kyle Dake. I'm going to go with Kyle Dake here. Because a long time ago, I just don't bet against that guy a whole lot anymore with the whole, how much I was on Taylor's side every time they wrestled, and Dake just kept winning. That guy's got a competitiveness to him that's at the next level too. But I think this match is way more competitive than most people would think. Mark Schultz was an incredible wrestler, incredible athlete, and really good technician. really good left side high crotch. Man, he had incredible scramble ability and just, it sounds weird, but really, really good arm drag, high level arm drag that he would get on the best guys in the world.
No doubt. I think he tries to body lock him early, and Dake holds him 2-2, and that's it. Listen, 4 points for Kyle Dake. Just forget it. Cancel the match. All right. If you come out with that strategy against Dake, I don't think it works like it did against Bannock, who was willing to engage in the shootout.
And here's where the match gets out of hand for me. If you go back to that Bannock match, watch where he got in trouble with his leg ride. Yeah. You cannot ride a sloppy leg on Kyle Dake. He's going to reverse him every single time. So the mat game's done. Kyle Dake's going to reverse him. He's going to ride him hard. And Kyle Dake's so good on his feet, too. You call that a wash, even if you give Schultz a little bit more credit than he might need on there. So I'm going Dake just from the mat game being decided in Dake's favor 100 times out of 100, in my opinion.
Yes. It's interesting, though. Schultz and Dake, to me, both made super bold decisions in what weight classes they went in their careers, because Schultz goes up to beat Bannock to stop him from being a four-timer. Dake put his fourth title, in my opinion, on the line, in jeopardy, by choosing to go 65. He could have just got 57, said thanks for the 4 titles, and call it a day. But he goes up. So I think those two have a little bit of honey badger blood in them in that way as well.
And that's for sure.
Jason Bryant says Mark Schultz beat 3 4-time All-Americans and 2 4-time finalists and 3 NCAA finals.
Jeez.
Wow.
And then, of course,
who's the other 4-time finalist? Kyle.
I don't know.
Or Jason,
JB, I'm sure Bryant. Jason will tell us in a second.
Give us the answer.
But then, Dake beat 3 NCAA champions, and then Montel Marion, his 4th, was a 2-time finalist. So both dudes had absolute hammers in the finals.
Yeah.
Marion was a 2-time finalist?
All right. We're all taking Dake.
He lost to Kel Russell, didn't he?
We could just keep, despite Christian's disrespect of
that
Mark
was a
Schultz.
semi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's okay.
We're all picking Dake. Let's move on.
No, I got Schultz, but I'm outruled. So,
Shut up, Christian. Shut up.
Oh boy. Here we go.
So we're tied at 9 again.
Niners. Okay. And here comes Chris Pendleton for Team California versus Mitch Clark. Dude, this guy is from Canton, New York. My aunt and uncle live in Canton, New York. It is the smallest little town. I had no idea he was from there until I read JD's article. I'm like, holy cow, this is the most like small town, quaint little place. And a little fun fact about Mitch Clark. He's a total beast. Amazing top wrestler. Tell us a little bit about him, Lee.
It's the top. It's the high thigh. Just go watch his versus Jones finals. That's all you need to see. Okay. Just incredible top guy. Contrasting styles, because you guys have talked about Pendleton and his skills from neutral. Just a really contrast of styles here. Be an interesting one to watch. I'm going Pendleton, though. I'll give him the vote.
Pendleton gets the vote.
I'm going Pendleton.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Is there much track record for Pendleton getting ridden? Didn't seem like, even when you beat him, Ben, you didn't ride him.
I never rode him. Son of a gun. Damn it, Christian.
Sorry. I don't want to. All right. Well, Pendleton wins.
Hey,
fine.
So let me clarify. Just so I don't know if Coach Roper heard this part, but in this because this next matchup I think is very interesting. We're not necessarily doing them as they were. We're not taking 1980s at Bannock and putting it 19. You're right. It's like how good they were for their times.
Right.
For sure.
Right, Christian?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And if we want to change our minds, we can do that too. Yeah, it's kind of dealer's choice.
No, wait. I want an apology.
You
Montel
are right.
Marion was a 2-time finalist.
I apologize. Listen.
Yeah, you're right.
A continuing theme on this show is the slow deterioration of my mind. It's got to be a fascinating watch for a lot of you guys. So we're 494 in, and I was probably really sharp early on there. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Also, Dwayne Goldman was the other 4-time finalist that Mark Schultz beat.
Because the Kellen match that is so ingrained in my mind is that controversial semifinal.
He should have been a 3-time finalist.
He really should have, because he definitely took him down a couple times there. All right, we're Marion truthers, I guess. Okay, so what's the score, Kyle?
Now it's 12-9 California.
Oh boy, Will New York respond? We have a Bannock. I repeat, we have a Bannock. Ed Bannock versus Zahid Valencia at 184 for California. What?
Wait.
Okay.
Why isn't Lou Bannock on the team?
I don't know.
Hang on.
Let's fact check.
I had a little beef with that. They're from both. I mean, they're twins. They're from Port Jervis. Actually, one of my college roommates was from Port Jervis, New York. I almost drowned in a river up there. Different story for a different time, but
I don't think so.
I thought Lou should have been on the team.
Well, listen, one of our policies on FRL is we never turn away an opportunity for a good drowning story. People love drowning.
Yeah,
it's just fun. They love adventure.
Well, I went up there with him. We were swimming across this river. He said, "Oh, we got it. No problem. I swim across it all the time." I learned I'm not that strong of a swimmer and literally almost drowned. A jet ski had to come get me as I'm swimming across this river. I got so tired. My body started to cramp up. It was a scary moment. No joke.
Man.
Oh, my gosh.
Where's the Chattahoochee River, Coach Roper?
That's Georgia. Goes almost through downtown Atlanta, just about.
You didn't learn a lot about living a little about love on that river and how to swim across it?
I didn't go way down under on it. Not that much.
Oh my God.
Guys. Okay, we got to finish this duel before we're only gonna finish one duel, Christian, in the whole episode.
We're not.
Oh
my. We'll get to lay.
Christian, this is a fair thing.
Georgia asphalt.
Ben is wrangling us up. We might need to listen. Ben is wrangling it together.
We're fine.
Might need to listen to it.
We got 10 minutes.
We need to put Lou Bannock. I am erasing the document. I'm erasing Josh Glenn. I'm putting Lou Bannock in there because he is a 2-time NCAA champion and an Olympic gold medalist. He's going in the damn lineup.
There you go. Sorry, you just got dunked on, JD Raider. You're gonna have to accept
JD
that.
had him
at heavyweight.
We'll put him at 197. He's cutting a few pounds. He's making 197.
We're cutting him down to 97. All right, that's it. But we have to focus on Ed Bannock, who's wrestling Zahid. And give us your thoughts
Can't we just California? No, hold on. I'm switching this, Christian. Okay, California. I'm Team Cali coach. We put Dave Schultz in. He takes the L to Kyle Dake. Pelleton beats Mitch Clark. We bumped Mark Schultz to 184. He's already beaten Ed Bannock.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
What do you think about that?
Wait, we got to go back and change all that now?
100%. That's the move. No, we don't have to change it, but that's the move right there. That's what you do.
So, wait.
Yeah.
You're throwing Dave versus Dake, and then Schultz versus Pendleton? Or wait, Schultz versus
no.
Schultz versus who?
Schultz. Ed Bannock.
Schultz
they
versus
wrestled in the NCAA finals.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
So I guess it doesn't change anything because Dake won at 65 anyways.
Yeah, Dake still beats Dave.
All right, we're not. Hold on. This is breaking my brain. I can't handle it. You're the one, Mister. Get on track, and now you're changing everything in my.
I'm just trying to give. I'm trying to give these teams fair shots.
Dave to 65. Dave Schultz, and then you're taking Mark
up to 84.
Right, and you leave 74 the same, right?
Correct.
So you're chucking Zahid out?
It's probably disingenuous to say Mark Schultz would have been a 165-pounder anyway. There's probably no way he makes it.
Yeah.
He probably an 84 in college. That dude was pretty big.
We can get him down.
Yeah, and him and Ed were wrestled in the NCAA finals at 177 anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
We really sucked him down there. JD Raider has no regard.
Well, he'd come up from 67 though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he started at 67.
All right, so Zahid's out of the lineup in Ben's world. Wow.
Zahid got benched, or maybe he got busted. One of the two.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Hey, listen, I didn't say it. He's gonna take you out, brother. You're the one. All right. Here we go.
Well, we already watched Mark Schultz and Ed Bannock.
Oh man, you're hurting Team Cali. I think it's more. No, I want to do Ed versus Zahid. I want to do it right now. Let's talk about that.
That means. Oh, okay, fine. Let's talk about it.
Come on, we already did this. Give us the breakdown. Ed Bannock versus Zahid Valencia, Coach Roper.
Ed's one of the best guys to do it because he wrestled back in the 80s. A lot of people don't really know his wrestling now, but man, just an incredible athlete for his size and the positions he'd make guys wrestling. He really was tremendous upper body wrestler. And I think he puts Valencia in some positions he's uncomfortable in, and probably counter to what most people pick. I go Ed Bannock in that match.
Wow. Holy cow. I did not see that
and
coming.
I get I get how good Valencia is on his feet. You want to talk about logging some hours on a dude's wrestling, coaching Lujan and trying to figure out how to beat Valencia. I got some hours watching that dude. I'm going Ed Bannock here. He really is one of the best guys to ever wrestle.
Holy cow. Okay, Ben, go ahead.
I'm laughing at Lee calling him one of the best ever to wrestle, and then I'm contrasting that in my mind with you calling him JV.
No, stop saying that. Stop saying that. That is not what I said ever. I never said he was JV ever.
Well, I think it's maybe, we're not sure. We can rewind the tape.
Please do.
I'm struggling because obviously we have to, we can't watch Ed Bannock in 2019 training environment, right? We can't see that because if he's able to move and bob and weave the way he does, he's gonna get to Ed's legs and likely score. But Ed was an all-time great. He's a 3-time NCAA champion. Without Mark Schultz bumping up, he's the first ever 4-time NCAA champion. So it is hard to pick against him. So I guess I'm going to go with Coach Roper and pick I'm going to pick Ed Bannock.
Obviously, I agree. I think one too many. I think it's the 5,000th shot from Zahid that he gets pancaked on. Bannock takes him over, something upper body, and Zahid can't recover. So Ed Bannock, your winner here. And New York ties it up with 2 to go. This is unthinkable. As we move to 197, Lou Bannock, Josh Glenn, put your sweats back on.
Yep.
You know what? You're on the bench. Watch. You know what, Josh? Grab the iPad. You're filming this match now. Okay?
I'm pretty sure he's a Navy SEAL, so he's busy defending our country anyway.
Yes, that is true. He is doing something way, way cooler than wrestling fake matches.
You put a troop on the bench.
Well, we didn't. He just got reassigned to freedom. He got reassigned to freedom. He doesn't need to worry about beating Jake Varner. He needs to worry about protecting this great nation. Jake Varner versus Lou Bannock, Olympic champion Jake Varner. Who we got in this one? Give us the breakdown, Lee.
Thinking about Varner against Bannock, I might have to change it, but I tell you, Varner gets a little bit of bad rap, and I agree. He's not the most exciting guy to wrestle, but he did put up points. He was really good from top, turned a lot of guys. I bet he pinned 40 or 50 guys through his college career. Man, just so good defensively. I don't know if it changed it. I'm going Varner either way, I think. Definitely if he wrestles Glenn, and then probably if he wrestles Bannock too, I think I'll still go Varner.
Yeah, I agree. I think big, fundamental, tough to score on, good ankle pick, as you mentioned, good on top. Just points were just so hard to come by. I mean, getting taken down was like wrestling news when it happened. It was so rare. So I would lean Varner over Bannock.
I'm gonna pick Varner also, but I'm gonna disagree with your sentiment, Lee, that he was as boring as watching paint dry, and so I think he deserves that rep.
Okay, I agree, because his best things were a collar tie and a half, so I got to agree with you there a little bit.
So to Coach Roper's point, that he did his last 2 years in college, he was 61-2 with 20 pins, so he did pin a number of people.
Did he even pin them boringly in your mind, Ben? Boring pins?
Well, if they sucked, he was going to pin them because he was a lot better, right? It was more when the other guy was competitive with him that it would be really boring.
Yes. Okay, now here's a question. We got a lineup decision in my mind. Nick Wisdowski versus Kerry McCoy. I need to abstain from this conversation for my own personal health and safety, but I would like Coach Roper and others to weigh in here because I have some questions, but I'm not going to ask them. I'm just going to defer to the experts and live to fight another day.
Oh, man.
I
don't know.
I'd probably go Gwiz, but it's close.
Okay.
I feel the same way. I'll go Gwiz, but it's obviously really close. They're both really good international wrestlers, both 2-time NCAA champions. Gwiz would have been a 3-timer without Kyle Snyder. I don't think there was another really, really high-level guy in McCoy's era of college, so I'm going to go Gwiz.
Okay, Gwizdowski versus Stephen Neal. Oh boy, this is when you talk about some of the greatest heavyweights, he really enters the conversation with anyone. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Cole Conrad, Mako, Kyle Snyder. I mean, it's the ultimate question. How would he was a world champion in freestyle. He was so big. I know I've watched a decent amount of Stephen Neal. He was huge, but crazy athletic and offensive. He was just excellent overall. I have a hard time. I'm gonna have a hard time just this entire time picking anyone but Stephen Neal here.
Well, let me help you, Christian.
Okay.
It's not a bad decision on your part. He did win a world title the year he won an NCAA title his senior year. So, that makes it, I think to me that's the decision maker, is that he not only won the NCAA title, he just turned around and won a world title a couple months later.
Heck yeah.
How about this? Yeah. He lost in the 1997 NCAA finals to Kerry McCoy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, I had Steven. I did a call with Steven a couple weeks back on the Rudis podcast, and he was like a fourth place at best state high school wrestler, right? So it's like he wasn't very good in high school, and he just hit this type of trajectory where he just he went from fourth in high school state to effing world champion in 5 years. Think about that.
That's insane.
He really was Jordan Burroughs before Jordan, like that trajectory that fast. The improvements he made were just incredible. Stephen Neal is one of the best heavyweights of all time, in my opinion, and he might be the best just from when he was at his best. Watching a guy that big, he was the best athlete in the building. Nobody could move like him at that size. Man, he just poses so many hard matchups for so many heavyweights. The one thing that he struggled with was defense a little bit. Gwiz pretty good at getting to legs, but I'm still going. Stephen Neal is one of the best heavyweights to ever do it. If he'd have stayed in wrestling, who knows what that guy would have turned into. Just go, if you haven't watched him, go watch him. He'll pass the eye test all day long.
And then to go to Ben's point about development, 2 years later, he was 44-0 and had 31 pins and beat Brock Lesnar in the NCAA finals. So, and then, of course, won 3 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots and can't get enough praise from Bill Belichick. So that tells you what kind of guy and competitor and player he was.
What the heck?
Never played a down of football. Never played a down of football.
That is insane. We got to do like a film about this guy. What in the world? Who does that?
There's a great story online
awesome.
where he talks about that journey. Yeah, great dude.
Man, you kind of have to be to reach that kind of a level. So, okay, what's the final score here, Kyle?
So with that makes it 18-12, California.
Very competitive duel by a scrappy New York squad. California with some, lineup changes, and New York moved some things around to make it really interesting. One other thing. That match would have been Gwiz versus Stephen Neal might be entertainment value-wise the best heavyweight matchup you could come up with. It would have been unreal.
No kidding.
Because you want to talk about another, Gwiz was big and very, very athletic. Like, he was not like a Snyder 220. Like, he was big, 250, 260 pounds, and he could move, he could scramble, he could attack, he could finish. He was it would have been a great, great match. I would have loved to have seen it.
I brushed over it because we're getting kind of long. I know we are, but man, that was the match when I was thinking about these that I might have been most excited for. And I don't want to put Gwiz as one of the best heavyweights ever too. There's not many guys that go for 3 titles in that weight. It would have been an incredible match. One of the ones in these hypotheticals I wish I could see the most.
Yeah, me too. I sincerely agree. Well, as Coach Roper mentioned, we are over. We are 3 over.
Overtime, baby.
So we got to get that.
I got to pee so bad, Christian.
Oh, poor Ben's bladder. Hey, thanks so much to Coach Roper. He'll be back tomorrow.
Was a
lucky
blast.
for us, lucky for you guys. This was very fun. We'll see you then. Have a great Tuesday. We got more Bader shows coming up this evening. Plenty of things going on. And, have a good Tuesday. See you soon.